Hello, for those who are new to my channel, a few years ago I started hacking together an application that was used for a little project that I was working on, and it kind of was a bit of a hodgepodge mess of things that I just wanted to throw in without really knowing exactly what I wanted to build. And the goal was fairly simple. I wanted to write an app that I could take images from a camera that I had set up looking up at the sky, and to overlay on top of that computed various celestial objects like the sun or the moon or the stars or whatever. And so essentially I wrote my own app to create some sort of augmented reality kind of thing. And so, for example, if I place myself at McMurdo Station and I have various settings, I can move the camera back and forth. I can pan it up, pan it down, so on and so forth, zoom in, zoom out, all that other good stuff. And over the years, I added a few features and whatnot that would be useful at a time like this. A couple of months ago, I released a video of a 1 month long time lapse from the various web camera images that my computer had taken every 15 minutes of McMurdo Station. And at the time, I basically said this: the sun should begin to start setting probably in a week, maybe 10 days or so, and what we would consider proper genuine nighttime, I'd probably put about a month after that. And when I said that, it was based on something that I had seen in Stellarium. I wanted to revisit the various images that my computer was taking from the McMurdo Station web cameras, and I specifically wanted to see whether or not that prediction that I had made was going to be correct or not. So this past weekend, when I saw that the sun had gone far enough below the horizon at local solar midnight for it to be just about considered full night as opposed to simply twilight, I figured that this would be a good time to make an updated video. And I also wanted to release a few more time-lapse videos showing over 3 months. I started a few hours before the winter solstice back in December, which would have made it 3 months and maybe about 10 days. But I didn't want to just simply make more time-lapse videos. I wanted to also show where the sun should theoretically be if you could see more of the landscape around what those web cameras were showing. And so I took the images and I scaled them down slightly and then placed them on a slightly larger image with a border, as you can see here. So this is the original image that came from the web camera, and I added a border around the outside and I centered it so that it's at the bottom of the image. And that gave me some room at the top above the image of the web cameras so that I could show where the sun should appear during the winter solstice. I'm not going to play the time lapses in this video, but I wanted to explain the process of how I did it and just give you a bit of a heads up so that you could factor that in and it's not going to come up as a surprise. But there are going to be two videos that will be coming out very shortly. This will be the first one. What my scripts have labeled as the first camera, or basically camera 1, happens to be arrival heights. And as this one will show, this camera is looking at an azimuth of about 179 degrees. And around the 16th of February, the sun was just skimming over the horizon. Because of the way that I had scaled the image down and the fact that the center of the image from the web camera is right about here, whereas by just doing that and shifting it up, the new quote-unquote center of the image should be right around here. And because there's an offset, it means that the transformation of the scene is not quite right and things are not going to line up properly. So I just basically did a bit of a hack job just to get this video out. And I just wanted something that was close enough for this particular purpose. The main image was really just to kind of give you an idea of, if you were standing there on that hill looking out towards McMurdo Station and further out to the sea, where would be the sun relative to that scene? And the sun could be over here if it was closer to the winter solstice, or maybe pointing further down below the horizon if it was closer to, let's say, May or June. And coming back to some of the other features that I had added to my skywatching app that I had written some years ago, one of the features was to take a still image and to overlay that on top of a rendered, fairly basic looking background, giving you the chance to pretend like you're really there and that the sun rendered could appear to sink below the horizon and disappear. One of the things that I just did this past weekend was I added another mode where I could apply another layer on top of that to essentially dim this overlay, giving the appearance of a sun setting. So I've already alluded to the Wikipedia article on twilight and the various angles below horizontal that represents the various twilights, civil, nautical, astronomical, before it gets into full proper night. And if you've ever paid attention to the sky remains lit ever so slightly more than the ground itself. So the ground tends to become dark before the sky does. And I've emulated that here, more or less. I've applied the scale of 0 to 12 degrees below the horizon for land and 0 to 18 degrees below the horizontal for the sky, and it's just a fairly linear progression from full illumination to pitch black. And so the other thing that this time-lapse video is supposed to represent is to compare a predicted day, dusk, night, dawn, day cycle against images taken from a web camera in real life. And as I note in these videos at the beginning, there are a few discrepancies, mainly because in my animations, I do not take cloud cover into consideration, whereas in reality, there are days of random full cloud cover and it might appear darker than it really would be if there was no cloud cover. So that ultimately gives us another point of discussion with flat earthers, which is how they can predict how much light should be visible and how much one should see based strictly on time and date and location, cloud cover notwithstanding. But that's going to be it for now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again in another video soon enough. So bye for now.